This is Raw Rebellion. I'm here with Happy Raw Reny, and she is 11 years raw and a yoga. Are you a yoga instructor or teacher?
Yes, I'm not teaching like all the time, but I do have certification and I did yoga classes on our raw vegan cruise
A
and
raw vegan
now
crew.
retreat too.
That sounds like paradise. Where does that cruise go to?
Croatia. It's been for 3 years already, 4 times we did, but this year we're taking a break.
Tell me more about this cruise. I'm intrigued. So,
Uh,
how did it get started? Like, who did you start it?
my partner Jesse Bogdanovic,
Mm-hmm.
and he was raw vegan for 20 years already.
20 years.
20 years.
So, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
41.
And Jesse is
41 too.
okay. So you guys got started at a pretty good time because your bodies and minds were still developing at that stage. That's really great to know that people can sustain themselves, and that's really what this channel is all about: is finding all the answers and all the clues to how to live a really successful raw vegan lifestyle. So tell me a little bit more about who you are and how you got into this lifestyle.
Well, I'm a graphical designer, but now I decided to dedicate my life to helping people on the raw vegan path. Um, and I started, um, well, when I was around 30, 33 or 32, I got pretty sick. And it actually started with diets, like a lot of dieting. I did since I was 16, I was dieting and trying different diets. And then when I was 32, I tried this Atkins diet. And for about a year, I did it. And it's really ruined my health horribly.
Sorry
Uh,
to hear that.
yeah. Um, my kidneys were inflamed, my liver was inflamed, and I had some bad infection in my lungs, and my skin was super dry. I was tired and actually had pain in my back, probably because of kidneys. So I went to doctor and I went to this computer diagnostics, and then they told me that wow, you're really bad. Health is really bad, and I started researching online how to help myself. Um, and I found raw food very fast on John Collar's site. There was a lot of information, and of course, there was other sites who offered some raw vegan books to buy, but I didn't even own credit card back then. So John Collard's site, this living foods, I think it was. That was my only like source of information about raw food, and I did know nobody doing that. I went basically raw or very high raw overnight is just as good as I understood back then and as I could. Um, and all my friends thought I was crazy. But I felt so much better almost instantly. So I kept on doing it.
What did you what did you transition with? I mean, I know you said overnight, but like what were the foods that you went straight for?
Well, I was living in Estonia. I was born in Estonia, and I was living there back there back then. And we were like in a small little village at that time, renting a place. And there was only a couple of stores, and there was barely anything. There was like carrots, cabbage, um, some dried fruit, which I realized later it wasn't raw, but I was eating that. And about 3 kilometers from there, there was a bigger store with bananas and apples. So I would walk there. There was no bus going, so I would walk to get all that. And I was just so grateful, for even that little bit that we had there. And it was very challenging to start, but I was so excited. I was ready to do anything to be raw, to become raw. So I ate very simple.
So,
Just these fruits that I could find and some veggies I could find, and that's all. Maybe some nuts and seeds.
so did you have any issues with cravings? Did you relapse at all?
um, I didn't really. Well, of course, when it was very difficult to live in this village. We were renting place there with my friend, and I went back to my parents' house in a big city, and it was so much easier. There was all this fruit available, but at the same time, in my parents' fridge, of course, there was some cooked veggies, for example, which I used to love, and sometimes I would take a bite of few bites, and then I would feel like, especially next day, I would feel the effect that I'm not as high. So it was usually like for about a week, I would go raw, 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 100%. And then I would not really have a meal, but just a few bites of this cooked food. Especially after talking to my friends who thought that I'm nuts, that it's so like in my head and it can't be true, that cooked food is good too. And I would have a few bites and I would just feel in my body that I don't feel so good.
Mm-hmm.
And that kept me going. And basically I was, I don't know, 98, 99% raw like this for 3 years. And then I started reading more and more about raw food, and for both uh, mm, for raw food and against raw food, all these articles. And I read this, like a few articles about that it's not really true that raw food is like healing and the best for us. And I thought I will experiment. Also, my friend, um, actually, my boyfriend, I was trying to be with this boyfriend and he was eating cooked food, of course. And I thought it would be so much easier because I was struggling financially. It would be so much easier to just go cooked vegan. And I started eating asparagus and things for about 2 weeks. So it was after 3 years of being almost all raw. I did that experiment for 2 weeks, and then after 2 weeks, I'm like, whoa, I all of a sudden checked in. I was so busy that I didn't even notice how I feel. But then when I checked in how I feel, I'm like, whoa, that's like day and night. And I decided to go 100% raw. So that was what, like 8 years ago. I decided to go 100% raw, and I decided that to leave this boyfriend and to only go with someone who is raw vegan. And I was so crazy back then. In Estonia, there was nobody. I was the only one. So I went on Facebook and I thought maybe I will find some friends and maybe someday I will find someone. And at the same time, I was watching the Secret movie. So I started visualizing how it would be and feeling how would it be to be with someone who is raw vegan. So um, I went on Facebook and I friended all these people, and in 1 week I found Jesse Bogdanovich, and now we're married. We've been together for 8 years, and I was raw, 100% raw for 8 years. So it's like first 3 years was like high raw, and now it's fully raw for 8 years.
So you acquired this knowledge, you applied it, and you manifested it, just like the secret talks about. And did you make like a vision board or anything?
Mostly in my head.
Just in your head. So, and this really worked for you. The secret really worked for you. That
Yes,
that's
definitely.
that's very encouraging. I've really been trying to work on manifesting what I want. I think that I need to get a little more focused and write some stuff down, but that's totally encouraging to hear that. And so now You have, because it is very hard to stay raw when everyone else around you is eating cooked, especially your partner.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you give in the temptation. Yeah, MIT did this study about biophotons and the emission of biophotons in frogs' eggs, and the pure eggs that were young could encourage the biophoton output and maturity of the other eggs, but the more mature eggs that had accumulated more environmental toxins were kind of
Mhm.
a bad influence on the younger eggs. It was interesting.
Yeah.
So let's see. Is Do you have a favorite pastime? Is that yoga, or is there other things that you like to do?
I love yoga and I love walking also in the hills and listening to like good audiobooks, self-help, of course.
And what's
Uh,
your favorite audiobook?
well, one of the favorite is by Eckhart Tolle, of course. Um, it's called "Practicing the Power of Now."
Power of Now.
Yeah, practicing the power of now.
Okay, so are those two
It's
different books?
two different books.
Okay.
The Power of Now is like a conversation between him and these two young people. But practicing the Power of Now is very compact, and he just tells you basically what to do and how to be present, and um, it's very practical. Really, it just helps you to be present on your walk, for example. It's just amazing book. It's like practicing being here, and he helps you a lot.
Yeah, I've been working on that with meditation a lot. Do you ever meditate?
Yes, totally.
That's great. Yeah, I've found that's really been helpful for me.
Mm.
20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening.
Oh, very good.
And you are from Estonia, but you're living in Croatia.
Yes.
Um, and is there a large vegan community in Croatia?
Um, there are some vegans for sure. We don't know too many people personally, and especially raw vegans. um, just a few people that we know who are raw vegans. So we're living in a very isolated village, and we're not talking too much to other people. But we meet in this city of Split. There is like organic store, and we meet some people there for sure.
Hmm.
And we're gonna do some talk there too. We should do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just difficult with Croatian language. I just started learning it, and my partner, he was born in America, so his Croatian is also not very very good. We can talk, we can speak, to people, but on a more like primitive level.
What made you decide on Croatia?
Oh, I just met Jesse on Facebook.
Oh, he was already living there.
Yeah, yeah, they came about 10 years ago or more back to Croatia with his parents because his parents are originally from Croatia. And he came here and organized this tiny little retreat. So he invited me to his raw vegan retreat, and I came and I stayed.
That's so great.
Yeah.
And I just want to actually go back a little bit, back to when we were talking about your kidney issues.
Yeah.
Did you ever go back and get those tested again, or
Yeah. Yes, everything is normal now. Everything functions normally. So, and I can feel it too.
how long did that take on the raw diet for that to take
um,
place?
I think I measured it in about 1 year from when I started, and it was already much better, everything. And I did lots of water fasting too.
Okay, that's cool. I was actually going to ask you about that. Um, how long was have you water fasted for?
Uh, yeah, well, I started water fasting actually very early when I was 16. I did like 1 day water fasts.
Hmm.
But I was trying to eat healthy, but my understanding of eating healthy was changing a lot. So at some point, I thought that high protein diet is super healthy, but it
Mhm.
wasn't the case. Um, so then I continued to like longer water fast, especially when I started with raw. I fasted for 1 week several times and 2 weeks several times. And about 4 years ago, I think it was, I fasted for 40 days on water.
40 days.
40 days.
What kind of changes took place in your body at that when you did that?
Uh, well, mm, I don't even know, to be honest. I should have done more tests, I guess, but um, I would say the biggest transformation was like inside, like spiritual.
Hmm.
Um, like before my fast, I was that 40-day fast, I was concentrated on just like making living
Yeah.
and being comfortable, basically. I just did, although I'm graphical designer, I have a master's degree in graphic design, but I did it for only a couple of years, and then um, it was too stressful for me somehow. So I just started working for my dad and translating, and
Hmm.
it was very kind of comfortable work, but I didn't really have so much passion in there. And after my water fast, I realized that I want to live with passion and I want to help people, and yeah, do something meaningful here on the planet. And that actually, I always felt that I have some kind of a purpose here, and I always was dreaming about helping people somehow, and I just felt that I'm not good enough and who I am to help anybody. Nobody wants to listen. And then after this water fast, I decided to drop my work and to stop translating, and I started doing programs, raw vegan programs online, and writing meal planners, and wrote a recipe book. Actually, several recipe books.
What's your
So,
book called?
um, our first raw vegan recipe book is Simple Vibrant Recipes.
Simply Vibrant.
Recipes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's also another interesting story connected to the secret that uh, at the same time when I was fasting, there was this awards, like raw awards going on. And Jesse decided to put our book in there. And I said, well, there are so many famous people there. How can we ever win? And he said, well, we can just try. And then he said, let's imagine that we win. Let's use a secret. And I was so skeptical about it, but then I thought, okay, I can play with that. And I started imagining that we win. And on the last day before they selected uh, who wins, actually, people were voting for each book, and I I kind of let go of my skepticism completely, and I started truly believing. I thought I will not lose anything if I will just do my best and totally believe in that.
Hmm.
And I started jumping around. I was like on a 30 something day of fasting. I was jumping around. We won, we won, we won.
You had that energy in you
Yeah,
while
yeah,
you were water fasting?
yeah.
I
And
Yeah, wow. Like
yeah, and then we were watching, and we just couldn't believe. We started crying. We won. We couldn't believe there was like, I don't remember, like at least 20, if not like 30 or 40 books from famous raw vegans. And
yeah.
nobody really knew us back then, and even now. But somehow we won. So it's crazy.
So what's your advice for me and the rest of the audience to get started with manifesting?
Um, for me, I discovered that the biggest thing is not all these technical things, how you do, how you visualize, but for me, it was the feeling, to generate this feeling from the inside. Like they say, a power plant doesn't have energy, it generates energy. And in the same way, we can generate this feeling from the inside. So um, you just, mm, you can think of something to help yourself. You can think of something, a moment when something really good happened, and come back to this feeling. How did you felt? Maybe even how was your body and how was your breathing, because all our feelings and emotions, they come from our body, and when body can come first and do the thing, so the breathing is deep and open, the eyes are looking wide, and our whole body is relaxed, and um, there is energy flowing through, and then you start imagining that it happened already, whatever you want to manifest. And this generates this powerful, like, radio signal to the universe, and you just magnetize what you
So
want.
it's almost like it's like that dimension, or yeah, that universe where that thing that you want took place or occurred it already exists, and you
Yeah,
can sort of hone in on that reality versus the infinite other number of options that there are.
yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start doing that today.
Well, you're already doing great by meditating 20 minutes in the morning, in the evening. That's great. I probably meditate just like 10 to 15 minutes in the evening. In the morning, I just go run right away. And I have all my clothes, running clothes ready. So I don't even put anything else on. I put right away my running clothes on and out before I even think.
so
That's
I'm
how I can
so
change my mind.
I have so many questions about what we've just been discussing. Like,
Yeah.
one, I do want to get back to the water fasting, but I just have to ask you really quick. So you're sustaining yourself. You're making money, um, uh, doing raw food seminars online. Is that correct? Or
We
and with
did.
your book?
Yeah, we did program. It was several years ago, and it was at that time technically too stressful, because I'm pretty good with technology, but it was just, there was too many issues, technical issues, and I realized that I could just sell the PDFs of my meal planner, and it was the easiest for me to sell them to Estonian people because they don't have all these rogue gurus,
Mm.
um, and they grabbed it like crazy. So I was making money with this, and I also felt really good to help, people from Estonia. And now there's huge amount of raw vegans. It's amazing, or people who are interested in raw veganism.
Mm-hmm.
And now we decided to make programs again. We'll have monthly program, like a monthly subscription, where people can learn like a secrets of raw vegan success.
That's great. And I really hope that you email me that those programs and that link so I can put it in the description box.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and I will definitely be attending. Um, Now I want to get back to the water fasting now. How much weight did you lose on this 40-day water fast?
I think it was 14 kilos, something like that.
14. Is
Or
that roughly 30 pounds?
roughly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And do you mind giving us kind of your stats of just so we have an idea of where your BMI was before and after? Or?
Um, I was always had healthy BMI, but it was like a little bit higher
Mhm.
than perfect weight.
Mhm.
Um, right before that, I was doing this 30 banana challenge
Okay.
where we're eating this, like we were supposed to eat like 3,000 calories, and I just couldn't fit it all. I was
Right.
eating like 2,500 calories, and um, I just I didn't really gain so much, but somehow before that I gained actually some weight.
Were you
I
still
guess
raw at the
going
time?
yes.
Mm.
People always so surprised. How can you be not so thin, and being fully raw? It's not so difficult. Maybe it's for me, maybe it's my metabolism or something, but it's totally possible to gain weight if you eat enough or a lot,
Mhm.
and maybe a little bit higher fat I was eating. I was going through a very stressful time before that, and then I was trying to lose weight with 30 bananas a day, but uh, it didn't work at all. But maybe I wasn't very consistent with it, many people will say, but um, I just felt also just for my health, because I felt like my digestion wasn't so good somehow, and I wanted to improve that. And a few little things also. My kidneys were still like
Mm.
not so perfectly working. And you asked before what kind of effects. For sure, I felt more lightness in my kidneys. I feel like they cleaned on a 40-day fast for sure. And my liver, I just felt overall like cleaner, lighter, more energetic, even more energetic. Although I thought even before that I was, but after that fast, really, it's like I was somehow lighter on the inside.
Mhm. Well, I mean that I'm sure you would feel lighter if you only drinking water. Was it distilled water?
No, I really don't like distilled water.
You don't.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, there are a lot of different opinions on that, but I mm, I like to read research on both sides in situation like that when there's opposing opinions, and then I like to try myself. So I tried drinking distilled water, and I felt that it wasn't so good, and I felt that what they say about distilled water, that it pulls minerals out, that I felt that it's true. At least in my experience, in my feeling. Um, so I prefer spring water.
Spring water.
Spring
Uh,
water is light on minerals. It's not very heavy, but it's not like. Also, I feel that spring water is more alive. It has this sensation there that it's more structured, a little bit more. And distilled water, it's very dead. It's like it's boiled basically, I think.
mhm.
So it tastes very like bad to me. Dead, basically.
Mhm. Mhm. And
This is
what spring water do you drink?
we have a spring here nearby,
Wow.
but I was also buying, in glass bottles, which
Glass
was
bottles.
difficult, but they have very good spring in Croatia. And that's a very good water. I liked. I Actually, about water, it's very interesting. When I was fasting, I was super super picky about water. I would taste like, oh, it's no good, no good, and I could only drink this the best water. And sometimes it was difficult to get. And if water was too heavy, I couldn't. I just couldn't make myself drink that.
What was there a brand that you liked specifically?
Yeah, well, in Croatia here, they have Jana water, but
Yana.
Yeah, but it's in Croatia. I don't think you have it in the States.
Maybe we can order it.
That would be pretty crazy.
Yeah.
No, you have very good. We've been in States recently. It was my very first time in States, and
You interviewed
I'm not.
John Kohler, right?
Yes, yes, and you have really good water there. And I forgot now. Uh, I forgot how it's called, but it was
But
good.
it's a spring water.
Yeah, yeah, you just try. You can, I mean, you have such abundance over there. You have all
Yeah.
these good waters, and you can just, your body, your mouth, our mouth is such a powerful laboratory. And we should really trust it because we trust all these books and gurus and everything, but our body and our mouth, and even, it's so powerful laboratory. It will tell you, like, let you know when you're clean, like you are, you do so much cleansing and everything, so you will recognize what is good for you.
Oh, I know. Even in including people. I'm on day 71 of my solid food vacation, just
That's
juice.
amazing.
And honestly, everyone smells to me now. It's it's like one of the
Yes,
downsides almost, you know?
yes, yes, that was so strong also on my water fast because uh my partner, he would go to his parents' house, and his mom would make him some salads there, but his dad would be eating cooked food, and she would make cooked food for him. And when he would come back, my husband would come back, I would smell that on his clothes, and I
Yeah.
wanted to throw up. It was so disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's really what I notice, and I can tell when someone has been in a restaurant or been in a convenience store or anything like that, you know. Um, and I don't know if it's my mind or if it's I don't know really what, but
No, no, it's just you're more sensitive. That's all.
yeah. So, but after the water fast, you felt great. And is this is something you think you would recommend that people try if they're in a tough spot with their health?
It really depends. I feel that person needs to be already pretty clean to do, especially a long water fast like that. You need to start slowly for sure. And first, I would say to find a lifestyle, a diet lifestyle that works for you. So it's not like you're in a bad spot with your diet is all over the place, and then you go fasting, you don't know where to fall back to, or not to fall back, or even to go out. And then what do you do? If you don't have a habit of eating clean already, then you'll be so ravenous when you stop fasting. Then it's very easy to fall off if you don't have a solid foundation. So this is important, to create that solid foundation that works for you. It doesn't have to be super duper like 100% raw, maybe even, but super super clean. And then now you can slowly start incorporating water fasting.
Mm,
And
yeah.
it's also important what kind of mindset. Why are you doing that? If, of
Mm-hmm.
course, if you're doing it for health, that's good. And if someone just trying to lose weight, that might and might not work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I certainly after this juice fast, I will have a lot of weight to put on before I can do another long fast. Even though juices, it's technically not a fast, but it's certainly a lot less going in than if I was eating solid food. Um,
Definitely.
but it is the water fast is something that's definitely in my future. Um, so, oh, and I would love to talk to Jesse sometime if he has an Instagram or something like that. If he's 20 years raw, he's probably got a lot of great information. Has he done any fasting? Oh, I think I lost you, Rennie. You with me? I think we lost her. Well, that was pretty good information about water fasting. Anyway, I had so many more questions for her. Um, I'll see if I can get her back on and do a part 2 series here. So until that happens, join the rebellion.